All right, welcome on into the Falls Count Anywhere podcast. Charlie Turner here with Chris DiCarlo and John Restino. Gentlemen, we are rolling along through the summer here. We're already creeping up on football season, man. What the hell's going on? You know, it's already going on August here, and it's
Almost, yeah.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. But, hey, as we roll along through the summer, as we enjoy our nice weather that we get for 5 minutes a year here in Niagara Falls, New York, we'll take it. But guys, we have a return guest to the show, which to me indicates that we're not complete failures. So that's a good thing. We got people actually coming back, so that's a great thing. And we are very excited for today's guest rejoining us on today's show. Unfortunately, on our part, maybe it's a failure on our part, our only female guest, and we got to get better with that. We got to diversify our portfolio. But our return female guest is the daughter of the Hall of Famer. Sergeant Slaughter, and she has got a Hall of Fame sort of training and life going on with the whole Spartan stuff that she's been doing. And we're excited to have her back. She is Slaughter's daughter. She is Kelly Slaughter. Welcome back, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. We again, off the top there, I mentioned your Spartan races that you got going on. You've been kicking some serious ass with that. Tell us about that, how that's been going. Last time we talked to you, you were in some serious training. It was about a year ago. What has progressed since then?
She won.
We won, right? Yeah.
So last year I did a trifecta, which is 3 different length races for Spartan. But you can do them, throughout a calendar year, or they have what's called a trifecta weekend, and you can earn that in one weekend. So I did a trifecta throughout the year last year. This year, I'm going for 2 trifectas. I did a trifecta weekend in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I did all 3 races in 2 days. It was the most amazing experience I've ever gone through. I mean, it pushes you to your limit for sure. And, being in Fayetteville, it was right next to Fort Bragg. So there was tons of military people there. And there's usually a lot of pretty big military presence in Spartan anyway, because it is very military inspired. But I mean, I was running with them, and, it was really cool. Really cool experience. And, you gotta love a man in uniform. At least I do. So it was great for my eyes. But other than that, it was a great physical challenge. I cried at the end. So
tears of joy or tears of pain? Was that
both?
Both.
Both. It's so physically demanding, and you come up on obstacles, and this is the last race. It was the 3rd time I was coming up to some of these obstacles, and I'm looking at it going, oh, I have to do that again. It was awful the first 2 times. Now I have to do it a 3rd time, but you do it and you get through it. And so you jump fire every time you complete a Spartan race. And so the 3rd time I jumped fire, I went and got my finisher picture taken, and I'm crying in my finisher picture, and I will never post them because I look horrendous in that picture. But it was absolutely amazing. I have a picture, I posted it on social, where I've got all, you have 3 medals for finishing, and then you get a special trifecta medal.
Oh, cool.
You do a trifecta weekend. So I had that also, and I'm I did it. And, it was amazing. So this year, like I said, I'm doing 2 trifectas. I did the Fayetteville weekend, and I have my last race coming up of the year to complete my 2nd trifecta, and that is a super, which is a 10K, and it's taking place in Asheville, North Carolina, at the beginning of August. Wow. So I think I'm 2 weeks out right now at this point, so I'm training hard.
I see that on Facebook and Twitter you are.
Yes. And I kind of switched up my training from what I did last year. My training last year was super intense, and I loved it. This year I'm doing more lifting. So I'm doing more weights, and then I add in the endurance training. So what I do, and I'm sure everyone's different, but for my endurance training, I hate to run. So I get on the elliptical and I'll go fast as hard as I can mostly. So like, it's like I'm sprinting for a half a mile and then I get off and I'll do burpees or I'll do push-ups or I'll do squats. Sometimes I do reactive jumps and then I hop back on the elliptical, go really hard for another half a mile, jump off, do that again. Because in Spartan, you run to an obstacle or jog or walk to an obstacle, and then you have to do this physical obstacle, and then you have to run to the next obstacle. So I'm trying to like emulate that.
Right. Yeah.
Going and
I'm
then stopping,
exhausted just
doing
hearing that. Yeah. I'm exhausted just listening to that. I can't imagine. And then not only that, you're in North Carolina, and I know the heat index there has been over 100, so that's got to be insane.
Yes, it's not just the heat, it's the humidity.
Yeah.
And, when you sweat a lot, you lose a lot of electrolytes, you're more apt to cramping, and obviously having like heat exhaustion or heat stroke and things like that. But we fuel along the way for the race. And there's like electrolyte packets that I put in I have a water pack that I wear when I race. And so I put that in the water bladder, and the Spartan does have like water stations set up throughout the course, so you can fill up your water pack if you need to. There are some athletes out there that don't use a water pack at all, and I just like look at them like their level of athleticism is way above mine, and I'm just like, I can't believe that you don't have, like, do you want some water?
Right. Yeah. Jeez.
What do you need? I'm sure I have something in my pack that I can give you. So.
Wow, that's impressive stuff. And then John, I know we had a picture there. You have a couple pictures you posted on your Facebook there. Now, is that the medal you're referring to there, or is that from a different race there?
So that's from a different race. That's from last year. I think all the pictures that you've got of me and Spartan are from last year, but that was the super. That was after I did the super last year, and that's my friend Cambry. She's one of my race partners. She's on my team, or we're on a team together, I should say.
Well, look, you know what? I'll tell you what. I mean, look, you're the daughter of a wrestler, and with the wrestling show, so my first thought is wrestling, right? I mean, now you're hitting the weights, you're in great cardio shape. How about getting in the ring? Is that a possibility?
I will never say never. Here recently, I've really actually got the itch to get in the ring and to get trained and to go in there. I always say I would never do it without my father's blessing, and he has not given me his blessing. He does not want me to get hurt. He does not. He lived the wrestler's life. He's still living the wrestler's life. He doesn't want the wrestler's life for me. I'm 44, and most people that wrestle retire at my age. So it's kind of weird for me to be getting into it. It's such a late start. However, I also haven't been wrestling for the past 20 years. So I don't have all that wear and tear on my body that these wrestlers put themselves through.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So, I if I did start now, I definitely wouldn't have like a 20-year career.
Right. It'd be a little brief. Yeah. But with that being said, though, I mean, a lot of wrestlers today, you look at AJ Styles, for example. I know there's a few more I'm probably forgetting, but these guys are in their 40s and they're starting to finally, like AJ Styles came to WWE, I think when he was 41 or 40, right on the nose there. But now I think he's 45. And he just kind of, he was doing the independence, and he said, like you say, the wear and tear on the body, but now he's getting that opportunity in the big time, so to speak, the last 5 years in his 40s. So I guess it's never too late for us over the hill.
It is never too late. It is never too late. And that's what I keep saying. And, I've talked to my dad about it many times, and I'm like, Dad, I want to do it because not only do I want to show myself that I can do anything that I put my mind to, I want to show that to my kids and also everyone else out there. I've lost 125 pounds. Like, there was a time in my life where there's no way I would have ever thought that I could be doing a Spartan race, nonetheless, even thinking about becoming a wrestler.
Wow.
So to me, I'm like, I am literally in the prime of my life. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I feel like I was born to be a wrestler. You know what I mean? I was born into this family. His blood is in my veins. Like, I grew up around this my entire life. Like, what what was it that kept me from doing it in the first place, you know? And so it's just one of those things where it's like, I can go out there and show people, like, it doesn't matter where you start, it's getting there that matters. You know what I mean? And if I can do it, anyone can do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If I can overcome those obstacles and lose the weight and become physically fit, and now I'm wrestling and carrying on my family legacy, like, that's an amazing accomplishment. And I do hope that I have the opportunity to do it, but
That would be great. I'd love to see it coming down the aisle with her manager, Sergeant Slaughter,
Yeah.
the Kelly Slaughter. That would be. And I have an idea for an opponent for you. And I know
Oh, yeah?
and I know your dad mentioned something on through social media, and you have as well. So I want to get your thoughts on Lacey Evans. Let's get you in the ring with her. Let's get it going. WrestleMania 40.
Yes, there you go. WrestleMania
What's
main
your
event.
thoughts?
Lacey
What's your
Evans.
thoughts on her? I know that your dad wasn't exactly thrilled with how her gimmick unfolded and the whole kind of rip off of Sergeant Slaughter. What are your thoughts on that briefly? We won't spend too much time on it, but
Yeah, I really don't want to spend too much time on her, on Lacey Evans. I think I don't want to give her too much airtime. I mean, even WWE doesn't want to give her a lot of airtime, so
right.
I should.
Right.
Sorry, I had to laugh.
I wonder if that's Vince McMahon's idea, though, for her. You know what I mean? I mean, who knows?
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, and what people may not realize is that the WWE came to my dad and asked him to come in and manage her and to put her over and all of that. And when it came down to like looking at the contract and everything, he decided not to do it. And so to me and to him, that squashed the whole Lacey Evans Sergeant Slaughter thing, right? Because he's not going to do it. So for them to then keep, then she's using the Cobra clutch.
Right.
Then she comes out with the campaign cover with the Cobra on it. It's like, okay, that's when I really got upset, because I was like, this is not okay. And I do realize that, that is creative's decision to do that, the WWE creative team. And she really doesn't have a lot of say-so in that. But I do think that she still could have reached out to my dad and just been like, she didn't, not even to ask permission, because again, she's being told what to do.
Right.
But she could have said like, hey, Sarge, this is what they're wanting me to do. I wanted to let you know, or, I wanted to make sure you're okay with that, like anything there, but there was nothing. And so the responses that she's made on Twitter to him and to me, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, you really don't have any respect for him, and he's paved the way for you to be able to wrestle. And now you've stolen his gimmick. And, it just like her responses, she went after my looks. She said something about my dad's hips. That is really kind of what put the fire under me to be like, you know what? Like, I may not know how to wrestle, but I can learn how to wrestle. And
damn straight. Yeah.
Kick your butt. And if I don't learn how to wrestle, we can take it outside the ring, and I could definitely whip your butt there.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? I gotta say that obviously, to me, my opinion comes from above, which we know the above is, and he should have respect for your father to start with throughout his whole great career, and before WWE and after WWE.
Right.
But Kelly, I gotta say, you are a great role model. You put positivity out there all the time on social media that I follow, and you work your butt off, and you are a Spartan champion. So to me, you have your own career that you developed, and that's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
I do want to say, when it comes to Spartan, though, that there are different heats that you run, and there's like an elite heat where you pretty much have to like be invited to, and that's where you like win money or earn money, I should say, depending on where you place. And then there's age group, and that's still very competitive, and you podium, if you get first, second, or third. And then there's what I run, which is open heat, which is totally for fun. And if you win open heat, no one cares. Like you don't podium for that. So I am definitely a Spartan champion in my own right. But there are definitely people that do Spartans that are way
Yeah.
better than I am.
Put it this way though, there's no doubt between all three of us, you could probably kick all of our asses at the same time.
God,
So,
yeah.
I
what
would agree
you're
with
doing
that.
I do too.
So what you're doing is
Yeah.
a good thing. Is it looks like you could definitely kick our ass. And one last point about the whole Lacey Evans thing. One last point about that, and we'll move on. What the first thing I thought of was Ronda Rousey, the rowdy Ronda Rousey gimmick, and she wore Piper's jacket, but she had his blessing doing that. And I agree with you that Lacey Evans should have reached out or whatever the case and said, hey, can I just get your blessing on this? And then boom, there it is. And then you might be able to get Sergeant Slaughter involved in the storylines, but it is what it is.
Had she said anything to him about it, he would have given her his blessing.
And that would have been awesome to see.
He wants people to succeed in the business. You know what I mean? Like he wouldn't have been like, absolutely not. You cannot use it. He would have been like, absolutely, I'm honored. So it was just kind of like the way everything transpired is really what rubbed me wrong and what rubbed my dad wrong. And, it's just, he had his own ideas of what he wanted to do with her and all of that. And he couldn't do any of it because he decided against doing it in the first place. So I'm not saying he wouldn't go back in there, but the contract has to make sense for him to be able to do it. Yeah. So, keep your eyes out because you never know what could happen. I could be coming in there, you never know. Yeah. My dad could still come in and, help her out and be her manager. You never know what could happen. But just like right now in this immediate time frame, it's the contract didn't make sense for him.
Well, the cool thing is your dad has been, not only is just a wrestling legend, has he been immortalized, but also immortalized as a G.I. Joe action figure. Now, you recently posted one on your Facebook page that I kind of stole from your social media here. This is a Kelly Slaughter G.I. Joe figure with the Spartan award there around your neck. I think that's awesome. So whoever made that for you, who designed that, and when did you receive that?
So that was a custom figure created by a man named Mark Potter, and he is all the way across the pond in jolly old England. That was a horrible English accent. I can do better than that. But so he's in England, he's in the UK, and he is a good friend of mine and my dad's, and he designed that for me and sent it to me along with some English goodies, which I ate up right away. And it was really awesome to see that. I'm not sure in the figure I've got like a Cobra belt on, and I think the head sculpt I think is China.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure like where everything else came from. Like he just put that together, and I think that might be Kurt Angle's Olympic medal, and he put it on me to be a Spartan medal.
Right.
So yeah, he did a really good job, and it was really cool. He even got the tattoos on there. I mean, they're not my tattoos, they're already printed on there, but he found arms with tattoos just like I have. So that was really cool.
We got to work on we got to get a file card now for you. Cause I used to collect those things as a kid, all the G.I. Joes, and the file cards were half the fun too. So we got to get a file card created for you.
Absolutely.
That is great stuff.
Hasbro cartoon movie.
Yeah.
There you go.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I'm down, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, right. We gotta get some weapons too. I don't think there was any weapons. Maybe we get you some weapons too. But Kelly, what now you have?
These are my weapons.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Registered, right? Now you have coming up? You said next month you have coming up an event in Asheville. Anything else coming up down the line for the Spartan races?
Well, I got my kids into Spartan.
Oh, nice.
And so there's a race in November in South Carolina, and so I'll take both of them to that. I took them to the one in Charlotte. My husband ran it with me, the sprint, which is a 5K. So my husband did that with me and the team. And then the next day we brought the kids back, and both of our kids raced, and they loved it. They've been asking me ever since, like, when can we race again? When can we race again? So that was really amazing. But that's the next Spartan event I have is that. And then next year, I don't know what Spartan's going to hold for me next year. I definitely want to do another trifecta weekend. The hardest Spartan race that I've ever done was actually in Conyers, Georgia. And it was the first race of the year for me. And I did it in March. And that was the most challenging race. And I don't know why it was so challenging. Like, I mean, I know why it was so challenging, but we were relying on Spartan sometimes has fuel along the, at the water stations, and they did not have any fuel. So
Oh, geez.
I would say like a little less than halfway through the race, and this was a beast. So this was a 21K. We were out of fuel and we had to continue. And I think between like mile like 8 and 10, we were like lost. We felt like we were lost in the woods because there was like no one else around us. And we were like, what? Did we get off course? And we just like, we all wanted to sit down and just lay and rest for a second and like kind of like just get our stuff together, you know?
Yeah.
But we all stopped and looked at each other and we're like, if I sit down, I don't think I can get back up, you know? So we have to keep pushing forward. And so we did keep pushing forward. So I think it would be kind of cool to go back. That was the first time they'd had a beast on that course. So they made it very hard.
Wow.
And very challenging. And I think it would be really cool to go back and do that again and just see how we do. And if we can shave some time. I mean, that was like it was like 8 hours we were on that course.
Wow.
Yeah. So almost 8 hours. We like got off and we had to walk probably a mile to our car, 1.5 miles after we just did this race. And we're walking and we get to the parking lot and our car was the only car there. We were like literally the last ones to leave.
Wow, that's impressive stuff, Kelly. You know, I can't thank you enough for deciding to come back and join us again on the show, and being able to catch up with you has been awesome. You know, we'd love to have you back again, get some more updates on what you're doing with the Spartan races and how training is going. And if maybe get your foot in the door to that wrestling world, you know, we'll be sure to, you know, stay attuned of your social media on that. If that's ever a possibility, I'd love to see it personally. So we look forward to catching up with you again down the road, Kelly. It was awesome to have you back.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can follow Kelly on Facebook and Twitter.
Yes, Facebook and Twitter. You can follow Kelly Slaughter. Again, that is Slaughter's daughter, and we thank her so much for joining us here on the Falls Count Anywhere podcast, where, again, there's no doubt I think she could kick our ass, guys. So we gotta get back into shape or something, or get in shape.
She beat the hell out of
But,
us. She'd beat the living. She'd kill us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just
3-on-1 handicap match, you know.
it's a close
90 seconds. I'd be like Sky Lolo. It would be over. Just beaten into submission.
We'd have to resort to like a steel chair or like a kendo stick or something. Maybe give us a chance, right?
But Kabuki, yeah, definitely. We're
All
done.
right, guys. Well, let's do this. Let's take a break here. We got some clips coming up after the break. We also got our jobber of the week, and let's see what's going on currently within the world of wrestling as well. So let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Digits 988 can save a life. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.
right, welcome back to the Falls Count Anywhere podcast. Charlie, John, and Chris here, all with you. And again, thank you to Kelly Slaughter for joining us. Slaughter's daughter joining us here, guys. I'm already picturing it. WrestleMania 40, Lacey Evans, Kelly Slaughter, Hell in a Cell match, perhaps in the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia. Be a perfect setting. Have Sarge come out and maybe referee the match or something. Who knows? That's where my mind's at right now. Let's get it going.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Probably too much sense, right? So
I know. Get Vince and Triple H on the line, and then we'll talk about it. We'll give them some ideas.
Yeah, I think that's where the idea came from myself. But
Yeah, I'd love to see that. But that was cool. Very cool to catch up with Kelly there and what she's been doing with the Spartan races there. But guys, just a quick update on what's going on currently in the world of wrestling. I don't know if you guys watched the Blood and Guts match that took place on AEW, where they had the Elite and Jon Moxley busting out a bed of nails, and Kenny Omega was body slammed on it. If you guys didn't watch that match, or anybody that hasn't watched it, go back and check it out. It was blood and guts for sure. There was thumbtacks, there was a bed of nails, there was blood everywhere. So good stuff there. And then with WWE, the continuation of the Roman Reigns head of the table tribal chief storyline, it's been announced now, and this is our third rematch for SummerSlam, which is kind of driving me nuts here. But we got Roman Reigns and Jey Uso going at it at SummerSlam. It's going to be a tribal rules or tribal combat rules, which is just basically no holds barred. And the title is going to be on the line, of course, and also the head of the table spot is going to be on the line as well. So if Jey Uso were to win, he would be considered the tribal chief and the champion. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's quite a big thing for Jey Uso. I always think of him in the tag team capacity with his brother Jimmy. They're to me one of the greatest tag teams of all time in WWE. I have a hard time seeing that result, but we'll see what happens. And again, the other two rematches, Finn Balor and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title, and Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar rematching as well. So hopefully they get some new matches inserted there into SummerSlam that's going to emanate from Detroit next month. So we'll as we get closer to that event, I think we're 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away from that event.
Yeah, 2 weeks, Saturday, August 5th, 8.
What was it? Saturday, August 5th. What was the rest of that, Chris?
8 p.m. Eastern there, live on, Peacock.
Okay, so soon. That's coming up very soon.
Yep.
So we'll have to do a full SummerSlam preview show perhaps next week. We'll keep you posted on that. But guys, let's get to our I guess the meat and potatoes of the show, which is our classic clips as we open up the classic wrestling vault. Go ahead and take it away, Chris.
Yep, as I do each and every show here, these are my personal videos and from my personal collection. I do not sell them to nobody. I do not trade them. These are just a few clips each week for our classic fans out there and our enjoyment of the show. And John, let's roll the first one. Here we're looking at some Ricky Steamboat footage.
Wow, Ricky the Dragon, nice.
Yeah, of course, I believe all these matches are from Japan. Yes, that was first the original Sheik, and here against the Superfly, Jimmy Snuka.
Oh, that's awesome.
nice.
And then, of course, imagine this match, Mil Mascaras and some definite classic matchups here.
Absolutely.
And then, of course,
The Nature Boy.
Without the Nature Boy match in Japan.
Right.
I believe
no
1982.
There's no mistaking that blonde hair.
Yep. And then here he is,
Oh wow.
like a scientific type match against the former champion, NWA 7-time Harley Race.
Wow. What a matchup.
And then yes, this was a tag team match there. Imagine those two going against Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen here.
Wow.
A great team, John. You remember of Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood.
Wow. Yeah. Holy cow.
And Tiger Mask against Ricky Steamboat here. I believe this was 89. And then finally against the great Muda.
Oh, what a great matchup.
Recently inducted into the Hall of Fame, Great Muda. Yeah, very good.
Oh.
The handspring elbow.
Wow, very cool. And side note on those matches being in Japan. Again, I always reference these documentaries, Dark Side of the Ring. They were talking about Abdullah the Butcher. And if you haven't seen that, by the way, it was awesome. And I should ask Kelly. That's the one question I forgot to ask Kelly Slaughter was, are we going to see one about Sergeant Slaughter? Hopefully, A&E documentary or whatever the case would be awesome. But what they did mention though was when you went to Japan, any wrestler that went to Japan, the only thing that they knew was whether they were going to win or lose. That was the only thing that was scripted. Everything else, they said, if you're getting karate chopped in the chest, if you're getting hit in the face, everything in Japan was legit. If you were getting punched in the face, you were getting punched in the face. Japan was serious, man. So those guys that went there, they made good money, but they definitely had to pay their due, so to speak, and take some lumps.
Wow.
Wow.
Holy cow.
All right. We got 2 more clips.
All right, here he comes.
Classic Dusty Rhodes here, though, against building a promo against the King, young Jerry Lawler. There he is.
These guys are great.
You can tell this was late 70s for sure.
They know how to do it. Listen to these guys. There's nothing like this anymore.
Nope. And speaking of Japan, of course, again, Dusty Rhodes against Harley Race.
Wow.
Here he is against Bob Backlund. Imagine that match.
Jeez.
And this one is from the Houston territory there against Brody.
Oh, wow. What a big look at that. Jesus.
Oh, talk about a match here. Two great champions going at it. Dusty Rhodes against Nick Bockwinkel.
Wow. The dream matchups.
Yep. And then here he is, of course, against Ric Flair from the St. Louis territory.
Oh.
Chop. Elbow.
Oh, hold on. I think I got to bring Charlie back in. Hold on. Let me get him.
I got lost on the World Wide Web somewhere. I don't know what the hell happened. I got tangled up in the World Wide Web somewhere. No idea what happened. Yeah, I did catch the end of that. Flair with Dusty Rhodes there going at it.
Yeah, some classic Dusty Rhodes clips. And I believe, John, we got one more.
Yep. Let me make sure. I hope I got. Hold on.
Yes, here we go. Classic, the original Rock, if you will, Rocky Johnson here against Bruiser Brody from Houston. Of course, Rocky Johnson here in the Portland territory, Portland wrestling. Stand-to-man Stasiak against The Rock.
Wow. Yeah, the heart punch, I think.
Yes, you are right. And then here he is against Portland's. There he is. You know, these wrestlers were all over the territory system. A lot of people don't remember or forget. Here he is down in Memphis there with Lance Russell.
Jeez.
And, of course, in their classic studio wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
And, of course, this last clip of The Rock, John, you remember well,
Yeah.
Sweet Ebony Diamond had to unmask here against Greg the Hammer Valentine.
My favorite.
And then he just attacks him after the mask came off.
Yeah. Greg Valentine is great.
Wow. Yeah, Greg Valentine, who was also at the Buffalo Comic Con here recently. I think I caught him coming out of the bathroom or something, but quick story on Greg Valentine. You know, you're kind of in the mix of Comic Con. There's people everywhere. There's like this big black curtain, and all of a sudden, Greg Valentine pops out of there with some other guy, you know, whoever, manager or whatever. And I said, "Hey, Hammer, how you doing, man?" He was so yeah, you know, leave me alone, asshole. You know?
Love to have him on the show.
Oh, I'd love to have the Hammer on. Absolutely. Brutus Beefcake was in attendance as well. And of course, we talked about Sting, who was supposed to be there. I haven't seen him on AEW TV ever since he took that bump off the ladder there, or he jumped from the ladder onto the table with the help of Darby Allin and those guys. But yeah, the Stinger unfortunately couldn't make it. But doing a jump like that at 60-something years old is pretty crazy.
Wow. I know. I can't even imagine. I can't even walk at 52. These guys are jumping like it's unbelievable.
He's going through tables, and yeah, it's unreal. But yeah, guys, I mean, you know, we and the other match I wanted to mention about SummerSlam coming up as well was the triple. There's a triple threat match that was just announced for the women's title. It was Asuka, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca Belair. Of course, Asuka is the current champion. You know, we got 3 rematches we just talked about, and then we got this match. The only thing that's going to make it feel repetitive, and I hate to say it, but if Charlotte Flair wins, it's like, really, again? So hopefully they change it up and either have Asuka retain or maybe Bianca recapture the title. But kind of hoping to not see Flair. I didn't realize Charlotte Flair has already won that title 14 times or
oh my God.
12 times, something like that. Something crazy.
Yes, I mean, she started, you got to give it to her, though. She won the women's NXT where she started. I remember when the network started, they had her there. And then, of course, Raw and SmackDown. So, yeah, probably.
Yeah, wow. She's become her own draw. I mean, we're talking about Kelly Slaughter. Her father, of course, Sergeant Slaughter being in the business. And then you have Ric Flair and now, his daughter, Charlotte. Of course, Charlotte came up since she was in her 20s and paid her dues in NXT. But I'll tell you what, for a while there, she was just known as Charlotte. They wanted to just kind of take away the Flair name, have her stand on her own for a little bit. But she's done great as far as creating her own legacy. And she does the woo and homage to her dad, which is fine. But she's created her own personality, her own type of aura about her that, she just shows up now and she's basically in the title picture no matter what.
Yeah, I really thought she was going to join AEW with her husband there, Andrade, but she's back in WWE, so we'll see what happens.
That'll be interesting. That would have been interesting if she would have hopped over to AEW. AEW, there was some rumor too that maybe Drew McIntyre might have headed there, but now we've seen Drew McIntyre reemerge. That's probably a match we're going to see at SummerSlam, which I'm all for. One of my favorites, Gunther, probably taking on Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental title. I'd love to see that. 2 behemoths going at it. Again, I can't say enough about Gunther. I just think he is just he's got a great sinister look to him, and he's like a tough dude. And I know it's been discussed. They were floating around him and Brock Lesnar getting involved in a storyline together. I would absolutely sign up for that because that would be a bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, that WrestleMania triple threat match impressed me. So yeah, I think he's very good. Yeah,
I love him. I think he's great, and I hope I hope, like we talked about before, being Intercontinental Champion. I hope the next step for him is getting into that world title picture, whether it be Seth Rollins or against Roman Reigns or whoever the title holder might be at that point. I'd love to see Gunther get in that mix because he absolutely can carry the main event. Yeah, very, very impressed with him. But yeah, guys, we're only at about a 40-minute mark here, which is fine with me. It's a Saturday, right? So let's just kind of wrap things up here, guys. But we want to say thank you again to Kelly Slaughter for joining us. And we always have some. But oh, that's right. My gosh, I almost jobbed the jobber to where I didn't give him. What am I doing? Okay, so Rico Federico.
The Sheik tweets too, though.
It feels empty without the Sheik tweets. We got to rectify that somehow. But our jobber of the week, I almost didn't put him over here. Is Rico Federico. And this jabroni here, this enhancement talent, if you will, had a career record of 0-14. Wrestled. It was interesting though. He wrestled from 1990 to 1991, strictly for the WWF. But then he reappeared back in 1996, wrestling 3 matches for ECW. He went 1-2 in ECW. I forget who he beat, but I'm wondering if he was maybe, at ECW. I think at that point was kind of just getting started in '96, if I'm not mistaken, and they were probably just looking for talent wherever they could get it. Hey, call Rico Frederico and he'll join. But he the clip I was able to watch of him, I pulled up one of his matches on YouTube.
Oh,
He was getting kicked around here by Mr. Perfect, and he was doing well, but then he kind of had his way a little bit with Mr. Perfect. He got in a drop kick here, as you can see, Perfect taking the shot from him. He had a little bit of offense in this match, but then Mr. Perfect kind of took over, and here he is hooking him into that perfect plex. And that was all she wrote at that point, once that perfect plex was hooked. And the cool thing was, a couple of side notes on this, is Mr. George Steinbrenner, former owner of the New York Yankees, the late, great George Steinbrenner, was in attendance. And Mr. Perfect walked over to him, shook his hand, dedicated the match to him. And another side note to that, if anybody gives a shit, I was at that event. This was in Tampa, Florida, 1990. This is the Superstars taping I attended. And I remember seeing George Steinbrenner in the crowd and not being able to figure out who it was. Again, I was 13. I knew it was somebody important. And then by the time they aired it, I was kicking myself. I was like, man, that was George Steinbrenner. But I was at that event at the Sun Dome in Tampa, Florida. So I thought it was cool to see that. Not cool that I didn't know who Steinbrenner was at first until they finally aired it. But the late, great George Steinbrenner in attendance there. The late, great Mr. Perfect. So rest in peace to both of those legends. And that was cool. I just thought it was a cool thing. And again, Rico Frederico mounted some offense in that match, which surprised me. And then carried on to ECW for 3 matches and then called it a career after that. He probably had some brutality going on there in ECW, as you know, especially in '96, man, when you could catch ECW at like 12 at night or like 1 in the morning on some weird channel. Those guys were brutalizing each other, man. Craziness.
I wonder if Rico Frederico was his real name.
I believe it was. I didn't see any other AKAs or anything anything like that. And a lot of this, though, it's hard to find information on these guys. So it's very limited. The only thing I know beyond that is he's from Florida. They didn't even have the city. It just said he's from Florida. So so shout out to Rico, who I almost skipped right over and ended the show. So
Yeah, well, before we do that, John, let's thank all our fans across all our platforms and, of course, our home here on Facebook and also there on our YouTube channel. Hopefully, we're growing to 1,000. We're getting there. We got 50, although Friends with the Z Media Network, put that in on YouTube under the search altogether, and you'll see not only just this show, but John's sports show, Spitballin' Sports Podcast, and a couple other shows. And we thank everybody there. And also on our Twitter is @CountAnywhere. And of course, also on Spotify. And hopefully we can see we're growing on the chart there. We can get some information on that. Charlie, maybe next time. And John, I forgot 2 times about our Facebook Star Program.
Oh, yes. You're out there watching us, and if you have an extra 99 cents, you can give us stars.
yeah,
You get
for
for
a cup
99
of
cents.
coffee, you know what I mean? Hook us
Yeah.
up.
You get 100 stars. We get 100 stars. We accumulate enough stars. Facebook gives us some advertising opportunities. Then even just that $1 for us can go into making this show bigger and better cameras, better everything else, maybe even, guests, whatever we can do. Maybe we go on location somewhere. All that stuff could help us at 99 cents. And anybody out there that has already, thank you. And those that might be able to, it would be great.
Absolutely. And again, we appreciate everybody that checks out the show. Each and every one of you, we appreciate you. And John, do we have any information for the people? We are a show of the people here at Falls Count Anywhere. We'd love to give out some helpful information to anybody that might be going through some tough times or some information in general. Go ahead there, John.
Yep, 844-794-3812 is the mental health 24-hour hotline. like I said, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Christmas, every holiday. They're there for you. You feel depressed. You feel just tired of everything. You're exhausted, whatever. You know what I mean? Anxieties, PTSDs. Give them a call. They're there. They'll talk to you for, gosh, there's people I know that have told me they've talked for hours and hours with the professional counselors standing by. Don't also forget, we show it at one of our commercials, 988. That number is the only, or 911, if you're getting to the point where you feel like you want to end your life. And sadly, we have a lot of that these days in our world. So, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and sometimes these anxieties overtake you. Don't feel bad about it. Everyone might have felt that way, and make that call, please.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that information there, John. And again, thank you to Kelly Slaughter for joining us on today's show. Guys, as we, again, we're rolling into August very soon. SummerSlam coming up, and then we're going to be rolling into the fall before you know it, and football season and all that stuff that comes with it. So, enjoy this last month of summer here, because we know how quick it turns in these parts of the country. But, again, we'll be talking some SummerSlam within the next week or two, whether we do a recap or a preview. Haven't decided yet, but we'll definitely talk some SummerSlam coming up. But again, guys, thanks so much for the show, for their contributions, and have a great weekend, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you.